All right, I thought I would discuss with you guys and gals today some common myths that are out there regarding dieting, slowing metabolism, metabolic damage, all these things. It seems like we have a whole new generation of people coming into the fitness world versus when this stuff was really heavily contested, a decade or so ago. About 10 to 12 years ago, it had become really popular for certain coaches and experts to market metabolic damage as an idea because they were selling very expensive coaching services called reverse dieting, where they would reverse diet people back up to get their metabolic rate back and repair their metabolic damage. And a number of people debunked all of that, including medical doctors who basically showed that what they were saying was biologically impossible. There were actual MDs in the fitness world who debunked this stuff. Now, keeping in mind, some of the people making money doing this actually had PhDs and things. So again, it was other people saying, look, what you're saying is biologically impossible, who were medical doctors, and you're just using your degree to scam people. This is complete nonsense. It's not true. And by and large, that's what the research has kind of determined in basic biology. So when people talk about, oh, you got to quit just crash dieting because your metabolism keeps going down, that's not really true. There's a few things that cause stalls in weight loss, but one of the biggest things that really just destroys this entire idea, the first one was, I believe it was the Minnesota starvation study that looked at what happens when you keep people in prolonged low calories. And then you look at the mere fact that people literally waste away into nothing in third world countries when they're starving to death, or people who are in concentration camps. They almost turn into skeletons, okay? Or the fact that anorexics actually exist. All of this should debunk this entire idea that if you take calories too low, you stop losing weight. Like that is just biologically not true. Before, again, without even looking at biology as to why, countless examples. If this were actually true, anorexics wouldn't get down to these body weights that they get down to through starving themselves. Okay? People wouldn't become emaciated in third world countries when they don't have enough food. It just simply wouldn't happen because their body would slow their metabolism enough to make them stop losing weight or even start gaining weight. Okay, this is nonsense. What we know also from the Minnesota experiment, because this was a controlled experiment, is that people continue to lose body fat. So when men were put on like a 500 calorie diet for months and months on end, they never stopped losing body fat. Every single week, their body fat went lower and lower and lower and lower until they ended the experiment when they were getting unhealthy low. But what ended up happening, some of these men were testing at like 5 and 6% body fat at the end. So in other words, they just continued to lose muscle and fat all the way down until the end of the experiment. There was never a true loss of weight loss. So this idea is kind of bogus. Yes, there is metabolic adaptation that is temporary. So in other words, your thyroid and other stuff can slow down, NEAT slows down, so your body tries to preserve calories, but your metabolic rate only goes down in proportion to the amount of weight and particularly muscle tissue that you lost. So when you look at it from that perspective and you understand what the actual studies show, because keeping in mind, the whole idea of the slow metabolic rate came from coaches saying, well, I had clients who were only eating 1,000 calories and doing hours of cardio every day, and they started gaining small amounts of weight again, these women, okay? The reality is there were other studies done showing that when people are put on extreme calorie deprivation, they binge eat and they have an amnesia. This was found in the metabolic ward. So these people who are claiming they're eating this and then they start gaining weight again are probably eating 2,500 calories and not recording it and actually forgetting it. Okay, I want people to keep in mind this has been studied. Metabolic amnesia like that is actually a thing. So it's almost, I've heard it called metabolic delusion instead of metabolic damage. People literally, when they are starving, will binge eat and they will actually forget and erase the memories of having eaten. Their brain will protect them from it to keep them alive when they're trying to forcefully starve themselves. Okay, this has been a recorded phenomenon in the lab, and in the lab where people are watched for 24 hours, and the footage is then shown to them, and they have no memory of the binges that they did. That's actually what happens. Okay, So they're claiming their clients are doing this, and then later some of these coaches are then using it. Well, this must be what's happening, and then they're selling services where they slowly bring metabolism back up by slowly adding calories up. The reality, metabolic adaptation takes 7 to 10 days at most to reverse. In other words, if your metabolism goes down due to dieting too hard, it's not your metabolism, your NEAT and everything else will go down. You'll just move less. Your thyroid and stuff will downregulate a little bit. But if you take your calories right back up and add 500 or 600 calories in immediately, what happens? Your metabolism within 7 to 10 days completely restores 100%. It goes all the way back up. Okay? This idea of people slowly bringing it up is a con to take advantage of psychologically weak people after they've done some sort of physique competition. And coaches know this. They'll do this whole reverse dieting thing because they know that these are people who have phobias of gaining fat. They're oftentimes in a weakened psychological state after having done these events, because physique competition and bikini contests and bodybuilding shows are extremely taxing to your mind and your body. To diet down to your ripped is very, very hard on people. And they're in a weak position, and they know that they have a severe phobia of gaining anything, including water weight. So these are coaches then preying on that mentality to slowly reverse people back up and make money by slowly adding calories back in. In fact, even books have been written on it charging money. Well, just add 25 calories a week, over the course of weeks or months to bring them back up. Again, this is a scam. It can be done in a week. It can be done in 1 week by just simply restoring your calories, but you'll regain water weight. And that's what causes people to panic. Okay? So even if you have dieted really hard and you add food back in, the weight you regain on the rebound, unless it was a bunch of junk food and high-fat food, it's just regaining water, temporary water you've lost. But people panic about that. So again, this sort of stuff is done as scams. But again, this idea that people have that, when you diet, your metabolism is going to go down if you don't diet right. The only way your metabolism is going down is because you lost weight. It didn't matter if you did it fast or slow. Now, if it's muscle tissue you lost, that will cause it to go down. But that's because you didn't eat enough protein, you maybe dieted too hard, didn't weight lift enough. You lost a lot of muscle. And there is truth to that. So there's where the reality is. Yes, if you lose a bunch of muscle, your metabolism will go down significantly. But it's because you lost muscle. It's not because your metabolism just magically went down through the dieting. There's a physical cause. That's why we tell people try to retain muscle or even gain muscle while you're losing fat. Lift weights, eat a high protein diet. It will keep your metabolism much, much higher, because if you gain muscle instead of losing it, you simply burn more calories. Okay? That is the only real degree of truth to any of this idea of slowing metabolism down. It's because you lost muscle tissue, or you lost 100 pounds of body weight, in which case, yes, you just burned less calories because there's less of you to move around. Takes less energy. That's it. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.